Hello again, this is Preheat. Welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. So if you haven't heard the news, patch 10.2, a bunch of information just dropped. So obviously, whenever there's a new patch that comes out, we've got new raids, new dungeons, new Mythic Plus season, all that stuff. But the most important thing is how the new tier bonuses look, because we want to see those new tier sets. So in patch 10.2 Guardians of the Dream, we have some really awesome sets coming out. I'm going to be talking about these sets, what I like about them, what I don't like about them, and we're going to be ranking them from best to worst. So let's go ahead and get started with my number one pick. Absolute favorite tier set of all the tier sets so far has to be the Death Knight one.
It has the spiky Balenciaga Crocs for shoulders.
You know, whenever I was looking at this thing, it immediately screamed Death Knight to me. This is a very iconic Death Knight set. We've got these skulls with the spikes, very, very sharp spikes. Kind of reminds me of like Painsmith. If you look at the shoulder, you can actually see like a miasma coming out of the mouth of the skull. This is also present on the boots as well, right? So there's like a lot of little details here, you'll notice. Yeah, I mean, this design is really, really sick. You can even see like smoke coming out from behind the mask. It's just like a very edgy set, but awesome. I mean, it looks like you're almost straight out of the maw with this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is probably my favorite Death Knight like set I've ever seen. In this patch, you're gonna also be eating so well that you're just going to be loving life because there's a strength two-handed legendary weapon coming out for you as well. So yeah, I think Death Knights, especially like Unholy Death Knights, are going to be really loving the game, and they're definitely going to be looking really cool while they're running around with their overpowered axe. Coming in number two. So this one, I think this is pretty obvious. If you've seen the tier sets, you probably knew this was coming. So Priest has an amazing tier set. Look at this thing. Okay, now Priest always, I swear, they always get like the coolest tier sets of all, but I love the effects on these shoulders. It kind of reminds me of like Black Temple preset, where you have like the recurring motif of yourself with the hood on your shoulders, and then maybe even there's like a staff that ties into it too that has like your head on there. But I love that these shoulders have like the little hands extending outwards with this cool healing effect coming out there. I'm not sure if this is maybe just like a glitch with the model where like the helmet has like this red effect on it. It could tie in. I think it actually looks kind of cool. Or it could, you know, instead be trying to match like the yellow. I'm not sure what color this should be. You'll notice some of these aren't completely finished. But regardless, I mean, this set looks incredible. I absolutely love the metal and like the shine effect on the metal that it has. I love how there's almost like a silk sheen to it as well. Like if you look at the chest piece here as I turn, there's like a sheen to it, almost like it does have like a silky texture. You can almost feel that as you look at it. And the hood itself, like you can see your face down there. But it is shrouding your face. I think priests are going to be really happy with this setup. Coming at number three. So this one might actually surprise you, but I think the rogue set is actually really awesome. I'll tell you why. So it may not be the flashiest rogue set, but you know, rogues are all about subtlety. It does have like glowing points on it, right? We're not going to think too much about that logistically. I just want to talk about what I appreciate here. So number one, the texture on this thing is incredible. Like look at this cloak, okay? So the top of the cloak has this really awesome like brush texture here, and you'll notice as it goes further down, it almost looks like it's dirty, like he's been like walking around the sewers, which is kind of cool. Like it's been scraping around there, getting some mildew. It's got a really, really awesome texture here. You can see that like the fabric is like bunching up. Same with the pants down below. I love this, like these blades. You've got it on the boots, the gloves. You got like these like hook iron knuckles, right? Obviously the belt as well, the hat, the shoulders. It's all working together. Like the design is very, very cohesive, and I appreciate it. Yeah, and obviously like on the undead, it looks extra cool. The mask is pretty neat. One thing I want to point out about this mask that I think is kind of cool is like if you look behind the mask, your face is actually there. Like you actually have a face underneath that mask, which I think is kind of neat. It's just a little shrouded. The little details on this thing, especially like the splatter effect on the mask. Yeah, I think if I was playing a rogue, especially like an undead rogue or a human rogue, I would probably be rocking this set. It just looks so good. This is a fantastic set.
Feel like it would be difficult to be sneaky in this set.
All right, so coming at number four is the Shaman set, and this is one of those where you really have to see it animated to get like the full idea here. Absolutely love these ghost wolves, and they're like fully animated. They do like a little howling. The reason why I like this set a lot isn't just because of the wolves, though. Like obviously they're really, really cool, right? But I just love like the textures on this, where it's like very furry. You know, it looks it's got like this neat little chainmail thing going on. But it reminds me of a video I saw like a really long time ago. It's like a WoW machinima thing. Illegal Danish Thrall is there, and he's got these ghost wolves behind him. They're howling. It reminds me of that, and I think it looks just so awesome. The textures almost like fold with the spikes on this thing, and they come down here on the shoulders as well. I think this is going to go down as like one of the coolest Shaman sets ever. The only reason I'm putting it behind Rogue is simply because I think the textures are a little weaker, but overall I think it's just way more over the top.
The wolves howl. Shaman wins.
All right, so coming at number 5 is the Demon Hunter set, and I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on this one because it's a little goofy. I've seen some people compare it to like the Canadians in South Park with the head here. I really like the set for a couple reasons. So number 1, it does remove your head. Like your head is just gone whenever you wear this thing. I kind of wish you could just hide like the helmet part and just have like a like this pyre of fell fire shooting out your neck instead. But yeah, I mean, like the horns on this thing are really awesome. It's very flashy. It's very over the top. You definitely have to see it animated to get like the full idea of it. I think a lot of people who are not liking it too much just haven't seen it like actually, you know, burning, because that's a pretty important part of it. The metals in the leather, the like embellishments here, they all are kind of burning with fell energy, or they're like being corrupted by the fell. So you'll notice it like on the spikes on the gloves, how they're fell on the tips. Same with the belt, like the tips here are like burning with the fell fire. Same with the shoulders. Of course, we have exposed midriff, because what Demon Hunter set would be complete without a midriff that is showing there. But yeah, and the runes themselves, I mean, like the color on this thing, this is obviously just one of the colors, right? But I think this color works really well. And I absolutely love how the greens and like the fell energy, how they're mixing together with like almost like the shadow flame kind of coloring down here. The set is pretty awesome. And I definitely think if I had this helmet, I'd probably mix it into some other sets just to like make some meme mogs. All right, coming in number 6 is the Warlock set. And I gotta say, this Warlock set's actually pretty sick. Especially like the shoulders and the hat. It's got this really nice lighting effect. Obviously, it's not coming through all the way because the model viewer isn't fully capturing it, but you can kind of get a feel for it, right? There's almost like a mask that's showing in front of your face, but if you do look very closely, your face is underneath there, right? Another nice little detail. And the shoulders are awesome. I just love how like this metal really looks like it's been bent around. It really looks like someone took a hammer and made this thing. Also, the belt looks incredible, right? And look at these little details on the gloves too, right? All of these little spikes, they've got the tips are like burning hot, right? Yeah, I don't know. This set to me is definitely one of the stronger Warlock sets. Warlock has a lot of really awesome tier sets, so there's like a lot of competition. I'd say overall, this is probably one of the cooler sets that Warlock's ever gotten. Maybe that's a hot take, but I really, really like the shoulders here, the helmet, the gloves, and just so much detail in this thing. It looks incredible. All right, so coming at number 7 is the Mage tier set. Number 1 is the coloring, and I know that there's other colors, right? I'm just not a huge fan of the Pumpkin Spice Mage. That being said, though, there is a lot I really like about this tier set. So we have to talk about this pointy hat. We haven't really seen a proper pointy wizard hat in World of Warcraft. You know, one that like really captures the essence of being a wizard. You know, there are some various ones throughout, you know, all sorts of different expansions, but I just love that this one's like a chrono themed one, right? With like the timer, right? Your hat's literally a clock. You've got pendulums on the shoulders. You've got like these devices on the, you know, the top of the shoulders here on the belt. All of this, it's all working really nicely together. I love that the pendulums also kind of go, they're not fully in sync, but they're almost in sync, which I think is an interesting design choice here. Yeah, I mean, but the hat really is what's doing it for me more so than anything else. Love the belt on the hat. Love how big the brim is here. It looks really great, especially with the hair. I'm hoping that there aren't any clipping issues with the hat with certain hairdos, because that could really kill it for a lot of people, I think. But another thing too that's really awesome about this set is the pants. So like, look how it's almost like a robe, but the robe is open on the bottom. I love that. And there's a ton of belts down here. It looks like, you know, you're fresh out like Final Fantasy VIII with the amount of belts you got around your boots. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. Obviously, if you zoom in far enough, you'll start to notice like some pixelation here. The textures aren't quite as good as some of the other ones, but that just might be because of how we're looking at it here in the model viewer. So overall, I like this set. It's definitely not like the strongest tier set for me, but I do appreciate the pointy hat, and I'm definitely going to be rocking this hat. I can tell you that. All right, coming at number 8 is the Evoker set. I really like certain aspects of the set. It's a bit subdued in its design, but I absolutely love the shoulders. And I think the shoulders are so important for Evoker because, you know, you're going to be spending so much time in your Draktyr form. You don't really get the full sense of the transmog for the most part, right? You're only really looking at like the belt and the shoulders. But I gotta say, these shoulders, like, you know, obviously this is just Norzdomu's shoulders, right? They really capture the essence of Evoker in a way that I really haven't seen the other sets do, because, you know, obviously the other Evoker sets are kind of influenced by like the raid that they're from more so than your class itself. They don't capture like the same class identity, I don't think. I will say this set looks like an augmentation set, first and foremost. But if we're being honest with ourselves, like everything about Evoker is kind of geared towards augmentation right now. So that's kind of reflecting how the game is as a whole. So, you know, not surprised by that. But yeah, I like this set. I think it looks really cool. I think it is a solid looking tier set. I'd be happy to wear it. The only thing is if you're playing Evoker, you know, for the most part, this is what you're going to be looking at instead, right? Instead of like seeing the full set. But hey, at least the shoulders are cool, right? So it's got that going for it. Coming at number 9 is the Warrior set, and I know a lot of people really don't like this set, but let me try to convince you why this set actually is kind of neat. The little details are really, really awesome on this thing. Like, look at these shoulders. They actually pulse. You can see like the embers coming out. You can see the smoke, right? And that's also present on the belt here. The helmet itself too, right? Like you can see the burning eyes. Also, I love these little details here, like on the gloves with the spikes and like a little shield here, almost on the elbow, on this side as well. The set itself, I think it works really well as a warrior set. I just don't think it's like a very interesting set to look at unless you like look really, really close at it. So I got a docket points for that. That's the reason why I have it here at number 9. But overall, I think this is a pretty neat set. It's just not the coolest set for warriors, and it's definitely not the coolest set of the bunch. Coming at number 10 is the Paladin set, and you notice here that I do have it on a Blood Elf. I feel like this is the intended race for this thing. One thing that really does not work for the set for me is the helmet. Like, I get what they're going for with this crown here, and I like that the visor has like heat coming out of it. I really like how all the gems have this neat like pulsing effect. You'll notice this throughout. Anywhere where there's gems, right, you'll see like this neat little effect on top. I'm not like a huge fan of it though, just because it seems a little goofy to me, right? It's like, what's a paladin? Oh, crowns and swords. Yeah, just throw like some swords on there and give them a crown, and yeah, that's the paladin, right? But I don't know. I mean, overall, like you definitely look like a crusader. It definitely works, especially if you're playing Blood Elf. I love the textures on it. I love how the lighting looks on it. I like the effects on the swords, right? For me, if I was making a Blood Elf Paladin, I would probably wear this set. I would just take off the helmet. All right, coming at number 11 is the Monk set, and you'll notice there's some really cool stuff going on here with the clouds, right? You can see that, the textures here. You can also see it on the shoulders with the smoke that's coming out. It all has the same neat little cloud effect, kind of like Mists of Pandaria. Yeah, I mean, what is there to say about the set, right? My job is crane, right? You got like the cranes on the shoulders, you got the crane feathers on the back, you got the crane tail here. Everything is crane about this. If you want to be a crane monk, I mean, here you go, right? You got the perfect set for it. Number 12. So this is the Hunter set, and I did choose an orc model for this one because I think the shoulders are the best part. I will say that there are a lot of little details on the set that I like. So let's start with the positives. So obviously the shoulder pads are awesome. The entire set is pulsing with this energy, and you'll notice it first with like the gems, right? So like right here on the belt, you can see it. If you go further, right, and you don't look for the obvious ones like the gloves and the, you know, on the kneecaps there, if you look at the little scratches on the armor, these are actually pulsing too. It's really hard to tell. You kind of have to zoom out and like cross your eyes a little bit to see it. But you'll notice here that the flames are, you can especially see it on the shoulders. The flames are glowing in and out. The shoulders are working for me. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I think it's maybe suffering from like Hunter set syndrome. Not a huge fan of this one personally. All right, and my least favorite tier set of all the tier sets, and there's some stuff going on here I'll explain, but it's Druid. So number 1, obviously this is like a texture issue with the green. This should not be green, right? On the helmet, on the pants, this should all be red. I think the set will look better once it's all working. I'm just not a huge fan of the set in general. Like, I think it looks kind of neat, but just not a huge fan of it. But I will say, Druids are getting some awesome stuff. It may not be in the, you know, in terms of a legendary or like how their tier set looks, but I mean, you aren't gonna look like this, right? Like as a Druid, you're gonna look like your form. So Druids are getting all sorts of new customization options. These aren't necessarily related to tier. I'm just bringing it up because, you know, as a Druid, you're not going to be really seeing your character in your armor for the most part, right? So new flight forms, we've got like these raptors you can be, which are really cool. We've got these dream stags, some whiskerfish. If you want to see, by the way, you know, all this, I'm just kind of scrolling through it. If you want to see it, it's going to be in the link description below. So just go beneath the like button and find that link to Wowhead. It'll be down there. We also have like this rune bear, who's like basically a bear form that's made of like roots and rocks and grass and all that cool stuff. And then we've also got these awesome new boomkin forms. Seems like these will actually work. Blizzard has stated that they're going to work kind of similar to like the Warlock Green Fire, where it may even change your spell effects. But as you can see here, there's like a pretty nice offering. But the coolest part is right here. And I saw it in the screenshot and I just lost my mind. This is so cool. A fire boomkin, and I've actually found the model for this thing. So this is what you will look like if you have this fire boomkin appearance. This is the coolest thing. I can't believe I'm actually entertaining the idea of playing boomkin specifically for this model. You get this somehow in the raid. Like, we don't know the specifics yet on exactly how you get this appearance, but it's going to be somehow related to the raid, and you will actually be able to be a fire boomkin. And I don't know if like all of your spells get fiery. Like, this could just be a coincidence that this mushroom is on fire, but overall I gotta say this is probably the coolest thing they've ever done for Druid, if you ask me. And I would absolutely love to be a fire boomkin with a million horns and a Pearl to the Firelands floating above my head. So yeah, this thing is super cool. I can't wait to be a Kentucky Fried Chicken. So let me know in the comments below what you think of these tier sets, and if you like them, if you disagree with me. Also, be sure to like this video if you liked it, and if you want to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and hopefully I see you in the next one.